Uh-oh, we're back again with some Homefront spam, and this time I'm going to bring you guys some Vector gameplay because a lot of people had asked about the Vector, and we're going to continue on some points we've talked about in some of the other videos, which I'll link at the end of this if you're probably wondering what I'm talking about. But for the most part, the Vector is probably the best SMG. The Diablo is really good. It shoots at a much more manageable pace than the Vector, but the Vector is just straight, destruction in close range. To pair this on this class, this is more of a rushing class, and it's going to get a little bit less aggressive at the midway point and then pick back up. And the reasoning behind that is a lot of these guys on this team were content on just camping, so I've always found that the Vector is the best anti-camper weapon because you can just kind of flank them. And with this setup, this class setup I have going here is a lot of time I'll use the fire from the hip perk, which will allow you to get a better spread when firing from the hip, and I found that works really well with the Vector because you can just spray people so quickly, especially if they get right up in your face. I know a lot of people have been complaining that they can lunge through your bullets in this game, but I found, as you see that guy get turned on hard, I found that it's really hard to lunge through the Vector, and right here is an example of the hip fire. So if you want to try out a class like this, you definitely want to spend the 3 perk points to use hip fire. The other perk I am using is the tactical reload, which makes me reload faster. And since I have a limited amount of ammo, that's why I chose tactical reload, because it might as well have a quicker reload than waste it on like Ghost or something like that. Because Ghost would help, but if you see me get out knifed, Ghost would help on a class like this, but it really isn't the ideal perk. I mean, if you have the extra slot for it, by all means do it, because I don't, for whatever reason, Chaos thought it was a good idea to put a 1-point perk as a Ghost instead of making it like a 3, so they have to actually give up something, which I think was a poor choice in the balancing issues. That's my first negative take on the game thus far, is the fact that Ghost should have been a 2 or 3 perk instead of a 1, but it is a 1, so it is probably going to be a pretty prevalent perk and render UAV useless as this game gets older. But with the Vector, you definitely want to have the hipfire perk on. It definitely helps a lot, because when people run up on you, you can just spray them down and not have to even worry about aiming down sights. Now, one thing I wish I did have room for on this class was the Grave Robber perk, because I always run out of ammo with the Vector because it just shoots through it so fast. You see there, I've cut out a lot of this because it was a very long game for a TDM, and the problem is that I just didn't have enough ammo to use the Vector beyond like 3 or 4 kills, which is kind of sucked, because I would prefer to just use the Vector the entire time, but alas, this game always has plenty of weapons laying on the ground because people don't have second chance, so usually you don't have to worry about just finding pistols. You can usually find a primary weapon, and that's nice, but I would like to be able to keep my Vector if I'm trying to use the Vector for, like a gameplay like this. So Grave Robber does help that quite a bit. But at least you're going to see a variety of weapons here towards the end. I picked up this Scar, which I used in my last video where I talked about whether or not you should buy Homefront. And that'll segue me into my next point. A lot of people, had watched that video and they're like, well, I still don't know if I want this, should I buy it? And honestly, I'll say this again, it's up to you. I mean, if you want something different, a first-person shooter to play that's different, this is definitely the game you want to go for. But if you want something that's, just exactly like Call of Duty, you probably shouldn't buy this. I know a lot of people keep saying, I saw somebody say that every time you compare this game to Call of Duty, it's like, I don't know, it's like, I don't remember, it was like an epidemic or something where people just couldn't stop comparing this game to Call of Duty, which I thought was funny because it's not at all like Call of Duty. I mean, maybe if like Call of Duty and Medal of Honor had a baby, this is what you would get, but I don't know. I mean, I like this game because it tried to be different. It didn't try to be the same as everything else. It changed the battle point system. It didn't go with what was the typical first-person shooter I guess setup. It actually took some risk, and a lot of people are faulting it for taking risk, but I have been rewarding it for taking some risk because I have a lot of fun playing this game. Yeah, it's going to have its shortcomings, But I don't rage at this game, and that's one of the reasons why I like playing it. I'm interested in it. I'm interested in like what comes next. Like I'm actually excited about leveling up when I play this game, because I like trying out the weapons. Like I recently just unlocked the M16, and it's one of the last assault rifles you unlock. I think you unlock it at level 27. Actually, that's not true. I think you do unlock the TK 10 or whatever it's called. It's some Russian assault rifle, and then at least I think it's Russian. And then you unlock the XM10, which is if you played Battlefield, I'm pretty sure they had a XM10 prototype weapon in there, and that's a very fast shooting weapon. So it moves. It's kind of like the F2000 in that respect. It shoots very quickly and has a lot of upward recoil. So I'll be excited to unlock that and try it out. I picked it up a few times, and it was actually pretty fun to use. It was an interesting weapon. Apparently it's a really good silenced and a really good rushing weapon, so hopefully I'll have to try that one out. But at the end of this video, you guys will be getting to see the Apache. A lot of people have been asking me to use some kill streaks instead of the guns, and honestly this is probably my first Apache, because I never really cared about using the vehicles. I'm not really a vehicle kind of guy. I prefer to use guns, and if you watch any of my Call of Duty videos, you know that when I use weapons, when I do a video with weapons, I usually stick to the weapons. I don't waste my time getting up in a chopper, mainly because I just don't enjoy it. I prefer to use my gun. I'm not really into driving around or flying around vehicles, so that's one of the reasons why I haven't in any of these videos shown you guys the vehicle kill streaks. I mean, I did jump in a tank for a little bit, but for the most part I've stuck to my guns. And if you notice here, I'm on my fourth weapon at this point. I had the SCAR, it ran out of ammo. I had the ACR, it ran out of ammo, and now I'm on the M4, bringing me to a grand total of 4 weapons this kill streak. So you guys will get plenty of variety out of that. Hopefully you got enough insight on using the and we'll pick up my 5th weapon here, another SCAR. But hopefully you guys got enough insight on the VECTOR. I know it's a weapon that you may initially think is kind of outclassed by assault rifles, but it definitely has its uses, because it will definitely own a assault rifle close range by a large margin. But here we are, we're going to jump in the Apache and we're going to check it out. I'm not going to get many kills in it, and it's going to take us to the end of the game. But I thought it was pretty interesting gameplay, because the Apache is something you don't really see a whole lot of, and I've cut parts of it out because nobody wants to see me flying around not getting any kills. But basically you have a missile system in your Apache where you can kind of shoot. I think it shoots out like kind of like a 6-round burst of staggered missiles, which they have a pretty big blast radius. If you get within 10 or 15 feet of the person, you're probably going to get a kill, because if one of them hits, then the other one's going to hit, and then kind of hits in succession. So it's pretty fun to use. It's definitely not overpowered like some of the copters you may be used to in other first-person shooters. It's pretty difficult to shoot down, I guess you could say, but for the most part it's hard to see people, and that's one of the biggest weaknesses of it. And I like that about it, because it's going to take skill to use. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I just wanted to show you guys the VECTOR real quick. And I'm going to be working on a vehicles guide. Probably be out tomorrow, actually, after this one. It's going to show you guys some of the ways to destroy vehicles. And it'll kind of segue us into that from this video, because it's kind of difficult to shoot some of these down, and to kind of show you guys what the numbers are on how many it takes to take a vehicle down. But I'll see you guys next time. Peace.